So for Dark Encounter, how did you get associated with this production?
Well, it's very boring because I was just sent the script by my agent offering me the part that I played, and I read the script, and I thought it was a really interesting part, and I said yes. It's such a boring story.
Was it all filmed in PA, or was it filmed in Canada? Because I kind of got a Canadian vibe from some of the locales.
That's great that you think that. That's brilliant. That's what we wanted. But we actually shot it in Yorkshire, England.
Really?
Yeah. And some of it's just a little studio in Yorkshire, and then the Yorkshire field. Yeah.
So setting is PA, but filmed in England, then you have to put on kind of a northern North American accent.
Yeah.
You have the most convincing American accent, even better than mine, because I kind of had to get rid of my southern drawl. But yeah, yours is just so convincing that I did not know. At all until just recently. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that she was an American.
Oh my goodness, I'm so happy to hear that. That's really nice. Thank you for telling me. That's giving me loads of confidence. Thank you. We're going to go around being annoying and talking in American accent all the time now.
How difficult is it to maintain an American accent with all the idiosyncrasies that go with our form of the dialect, and having such emotional range in this kind of film? Is it taxing at all, or has it become more and more natural to you?
I find it the degree of difficulty depends on what the part is. Like you said, about with the emotional stuff, it is harder to maintain the accent when you're upset. But luckily in this film, I don't speak too much, so I was pretty quiet, and it's all sort of going on internally. But sometimes when you get emotional, your accent goes like haywire, and you're like, oh Jesus, when you get to ADR, you're like, what was I doing? But I also noticed when I was living in America, because I live in Scotland now, it was much easier when I was living in America to do the accent, because I was hearing it all the time. But now I just hear it on TV.
The emotional part of it, which for the people that haven't watched the film yet, I want to keep it kind of spoiler free, but it's about a family who suffered a loss of a child, and the loss is still kind of unknown. They don't know exactly what happened to the child.
Yeah.
But it's strained the relationship between the husband and wife and the father and son. It's strained the entire family. How do you get yourself into a headspace of this kind of character? Do you do a lot of prep work for it building up to it, or is it just kind of a process that unfolds as the production's going along?
Sometimes, well, I would say mostly it's what happens on the day, like in the weeks leading up to it, if there's sort of any prep that you do, but then that's all just intellectual prep, and that doesn't even really help with when you're playing someone as traumatized as this character. Oh, I'm so sorry about that noise. I'm just walking past a building site. I'm going to run. Hang on. Get away from that noise. Can you hear that?
Yeah, I can barely hear it back there.
Loud. Oh, sorry about that.
It's all right.
Yeah. I kind of just have to access my past traumas and pains, and whenever I was feeling devastated or lost, and kind of go into that a bit. So it's quite painful, but I think it's quite cathartic to do it. I suppose it's probably quite indulgent, really.
When you're done with a production that has that kind of emotional strain to it, are you able to just just drop it right after the production, or do you kind of have to give yourself a little bit of self-therapy to move out of that character's emotional state?
I like within a day or two, I'm just laughing my head off. I'm like, oh, thank God that's over. But during and even during the production, like, I can still have a laugh and stuff. But most of the time when I'm filming dark stuff like that, I think I'm pretty grumpy, annoying person to be around, really depressed and just really detached, and I sort of retreat within. But I don't know, I'm probably a nightmare. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I think I can shake it off quite quickly afterwards. Otherwise, I'd just kill myself, I think.
I'm kind of glad I didn't have like a set visit opportunity for this movie. Then it would have been made for a very awkward time.
This woman is a nightmare. Yeah.
When you read the script, when it comes to the last quarter of the film, did you have any reservations about how the story was going, or were you satisfied that this is how this family's story would conclude?
I liked it because it was quite surprising, and I didn't see it coming, and I thought it was really unusual, and I loved that it was just so visual and kind of goes deep in a different way, and I thought, oh, that'd be really interesting, and I didn't know how they were going to do it, so yeah, I find it surprising, and I hope the audience finds it surprising in a good way as well.
Would it be fair to actually classify this as like an alien movie, or something about it seems a little bit more spiritual than that? Would you agree with that assessment?
Yeah. I mean, I suppose it's like a supernatural home invasion thriller, but it's also really very much about loss. I mean, when I read it, I saw it as kind of a meditation on grief and all the sort of terrifying unnatural events that are taking place that night. I kind of saw it as hallucinations that my character Olivia is having in her state of acute pain. Is like these grief hallucinations, and it was kind of interesting to look at it that way.
What was one of your favorite scenes to film in Dark Encounter?
Oh, I loved the stuff when we got to watch the drones. For the alien, alien spacecraft, they used huge drones. I'd never seen drones so big, and it was like watching, a movie while you were shooting it. It wasn't CGI. It was just there. It was so cool.
So there was 3 massive drones that they used for the lights in the sky sequences?
Well, they had one massive drone, and then they had the other 2 were just lights that they were beaming up, I think at one point, and then there was 2 I'm not sure exactly, but I think at one point there was 3 drones, but 2 of them were held in place, and one of them was moving, and then the other time there were lights. Yeah, it was a combination, and it was so cool.
I thought I thought they all did that in post. I didn't know it was a practical effect.
I know.
It looks so good, and the color palette in this film is very interesting. I didn't expect it to be so vivid in places, but it pops so much. It's such a pretty film.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
There was something about your costume I found interesting. It was the denim dress. Was that a pain to have to wear that and act and do some like action scene in something that looked that stiff?
Yeah, especially because the pockets weren't big enough to hold all the stuff that I had to hold, and like stuffing stuff like torches and guns or whatever it was down the waistband. It was all ridiculous. It felt so silly. Yeah, it was a mistake in retrospect.
One of my last questions, which for all the years I've been doing these, I rarely have a chance to ask anyone this that's not inside the U.S. What advice do you have for those people that are looking to break into the entertainment business? What do you have to say to those newcomers that are trying to find their way?
In what role, in what career? As an actor, you mean?
As actors.
God, I mean, I used to think that for me, I went to drama school because I thought, I don't know anyone in the industry. How else will I meet people? That's the only way that I know that you can get an agent, because they have shows at the end of the course and you meet an agent. But now I think, write your own stuff if you can, make short films if you can. I heard it recently about this group that get together, they'll take turns in the different roles, like somebody is DOP, somebody is sound, somebody directs, somebody acts, and they all rotate the roles for each other, but that way they get their own short films, and then that way you have a showreel for an agent. So I think that's a good way.